Welcome to The Ripple Within, a podcast by All in One Life Coaching. I'm Michelle, a certified life coach specializing in mindset, emotional wellness, and the law of attraction. I work with people to help create the narrative around their desired outcome.
And I'm Kathy. I'm here to ask the questions, explore the patterns, and share the real life moments that make this all, make sense.
This show is about the connection between how we feel and the physical reality we experience every day. We'll explore how our thoughts lead to outcomes and how narrative shifts can create big change.
We'll keep it grounded using logic and lived experience, not just theory. And if you've ever wondered why you feel stuck, reactive, or out of sync with yourself, you're not alone.
Our life experience will always match how we feel. This podcast is about exploring our ripple within, how our thoughts, emotions, beliefs, and values contribute to the physical life we live. Let's get into it. Welcome back, everyone. All right, Kathy, what have you got for us today?
We've talked about what it means to be unconditional, but what does well-being mean?
Such a good question. So, well-being is a term that I began to use to be able to describe an inner voice that we have access to, our own internal dialogue, our own internal well-being, our own narrative that we would be able to go to and then be able to associate with what we were hearing of whether or not it really was in the well-being bucket. Well-being will forever only be telling us stuff that truly is in well-being, to yourself, to others, to all that is, to our planet, to Earth, to our everything that is we can put into descriptive words from our experience, our human experience. Well-being is the thing that we as human beings can trust. We can rely on it. We can count on it. We can believe in it. We can know it. We can know that when it's coming from well-being, it will always feel good. There'll be no room for, we've talked about this before, that a lot of times other people around us will give us their opinion and they'll want to talk about things. And it could be a family member, it could be a coworker, it could be a friend, it could be a boss, it could be somebody, at the grocery store. That's an opinion of which, when we understand the difference between well-being and whether or not that's what we're hearing, we can always go back to our own understanding of what that is, and just knowing and trusting that we could be hearing yipping in the background, but well-being will never yip. Well-being will only be rooting for you, will only be looking for optimism, will only be guiding you to a better feeling place, will only be encouraging you and believing and knowing in who you are at your core and your true values and belief systems. So it's the ability to be able to trust in something that really, really only has your back.
So is that like your gut? When you get a gut feeling, can it be compared to that? Can it be compared to, when you get those little voices in your head that go, oh, it may not or may not be a good idea. Do you know what I mean? Can we relate somehow well-being to all of those sorts of things?
Well, yes, and I would say I've always refrained from giving it up to a type of deity, because there's just so many different belief systems and so many different cultures around the world that it would be unfair to give it up to a specific deity. So, and from my perspective, when we've talked about this before, that I believe in the goodness of all deities. I believe in the well-being of all deities. It's when it starts to make us choose that I fall off the wagon a little bit. Whereas with well-being, it is not considering race or culture or sexual orientation or poverty or income or where you are in the world. It is, again, just like law of attraction within the universe is not looking at those things, neither is well-being. Well-being is simply rooting for you where you are and encouraging you to the best possible outcome.
I think that's one of the things that really fascinated me between well-being and church, any sort of church. I've been to church since I was a kid and a teenager, right? So I I I like the fact, love the fact that for me in well-being, whatever that is, whatever you can believe in, loves everybody and wants happiness and well-being for everybody. It doesn't
Yes.
matter. And it's innate for me to see and hear in church the parallel, words. And I mean, not all of it, obviously, because it's all interpreted however it's interpreted, but there are so many parallels. But in my head, I'm also converting it is the wrong word, but changing it to well-being. Like I don't know what the right word is for that, but there are a lot of parallels, but then some of it I like to poke at that. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm not. Yeah.
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 Yeah. And I think that's why those two words being really descriptive also really has to have people connect with what well-being means to them. So when I'm describing it through coaching or just in conversation, for me, it is again unwavering. So well-being is never going to say, yeah, I can tell you're upset right now, and you absolutely should lose it on that person. Well-being is going to say, I can tell you're upset right now. It makes sense that you're upset right now. I wonder if we should go for a walk. I wonder if we should take a breath. I encourage you to take a minute. I encourage you to remember who you are at your core, somebody who's kind and caring and understanding. So we have these thoughts from time to time, especially if we're upset about something or we're waiting for something that we don't get. And then we'll hear and again, this is for in general. So for people who do have an internal dialogue that they can hear and like that second person happening in our minds. If we're in a position where we've maybe had a rough day at work or a terrible drive home, or there's stuff going on at home, or it just doesn't matter what the situation is, our minds will often stagger more towards the negative bucket. Things suck and it never seems to work out for me. And that guy at work or that girl at work is an a-hole, or they don't get it and they don't understand and nobody understands me and this world's out to get me. And before we know it, because law of attraction is also always doing its job and it's never wavering either. So as we're, continue to go in the rabbit hole, law of attraction is like, oh yeah, remember that thing that happened like 8 years ago? Remember that sucky thing? And then before we know it, we're just digging way deeper into the rabbit hole. Meanwhile, while that's all happening, well-being, your well-being, specifically for you, created by you, meant for you, is encouraging you to do what we mentioned earlier. Let's take a breath. Let's go for a walk. Makes sense that you're here. Means you're about to discover something new. We're meant to go find the solution. We've got this. That is what well-being is doing, and it will never waver. So law of attraction will never waver. Well-being will never waver. And it's how we can know as human beings how to make the best possible decision.
Last night on the way home, of course, rush hour, and it's bumper to bumper traffic, and we come to one of those intersection, and I stopped even though the light was green because the vehicles were already, so I left, and the guy behind me honked, and I'd been like enjoying the drive. I knew it was rush hour traffic, like I knew it was going to take forever to get home, and I was just going with the flow, enjoying the drive, just being kind to myself, right? Just doing the whole thing. So I
Yep.
stopped and to let this vehicle come and turn like in front of the whatever. And the guy behind me like honks. And
Mm-hmm.
instantly I was like, oh, no, 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 no. You can clearly tell that he is having a day, even though traffic is bumper to bumper. There's nowhere to go. Like, it's just whatever. And I'm like, okay, no, 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 just carry on, just keep being you. And so off we go. But it reminded me in that minute to not react. Do you know what I mean? Like to just kind of
Yeah.
just keep going with the flow. It doesn't matter what he's doing, it only matters what I'm doing, right?
So I love that you're bringing that up because traffic for people can be just such a big thing, right? Myself included. So let's give our listeners the ability to really learn about what that narrative shift did for you on an emotional scale. So, what did you feel, truly feel from this perspective as you were telling yourself, oh, I know this guy's having a bad day? Talk to us about how your emotions
It
changed.
would just be bopping along. When he hit the horn, it was so quick to go, oh, that guy's a jerk. And then to go, no, you clearly know he's having a bad day. So it was like I was, satisfactory or above, and then it happened and I dipped, and then I'm like, nope. And then you continue to move back up the chain, right? But that
Yeah.
that second of dip, I mean, it still happened, and I could have stayed there. I mean, I could have, stuck my hand out the window. I could have, all those sorts of things. But I
Yep.
didn't because I just wanted to continue to enjoy where I was, knowing full well that, I mean, like, where are you going to go, bud? You know what I mean? Yeah,
Exactly.
just stay in the moment and just keep going. And I know that I dipped for that. So I know I did, but then saying, nope, can clearly know he's having a day. I get it. You want to get home.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not doing anything to stop you from getting home. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, and we want to make sure that again that first you understand that dipping in that moment was 100% logical. You were being honked at. It's a rare human that's going to get honked at in bumper to bumper traffic and go, "Oh, that guy's thanking me.
Oh, I'm going to
How
try
awesome."
next time, though.
That is the narrative we could
Thanks,
create.
buddy.
I mean, the reality, no problem. But if you waved back, it'd probably irritate them even more. But that's what I mean. So for us as humans to dip in that moment does tell us something pretty important, is that we did in fact view the honking as a negative thing.
Yeah. For sure.
versus, oh, that guy's thanking me for letting that guy in.
Yeah, I mean, like, we can't know for sure though. I mean, when you say it
Can't
like
know.
that, right? Like you can't know for sure unless,
Exactly.
somebody's getting out of their vehicle, and then, that's not recommended and could be risky. So, I mean, you're right. We can't really know. And it would feel better to go, "Oh, that's so sweet of you." Like,
Right. And that's the thing that through this process, we just continue to learn how to do those precise things. Because the learning in it is, I heard the honk, I must have irritated him,
yeah,
or he's irritated.
yeah, yeah.
And so for our work to be able to still get the honk and shift our perspective of what that is, and we can still say, that guy's could be having a bad day because we don't know. And then with that say, or he was thanking me. I mean, it might be a bit of a leap to get there if we're having a bad day, but it's just being able to slowly make some of those narrative shifts where we can congratulate ourselves because that was well-being talking to you. Your well-being, I might add. Yours. You've created that well-being on your own behalf because you at your core came from this pure place, this pure intention, got born into this life experience, but that pure intention has never left you. And every time this departs from it a little bit or a lot in here, that same well-being that came from unequivocal purity is calling you back to it.
It felt a for me though, because I
Mm.
was trying to be helpful by allowing somebody
Yes.
to be able to turn left when it's bumper to bumper traffic. And let's be real, if people weren't giving them that grace, they could be there a significant amount of time. Do you know what I mean? And
Yep.
and for then someone to honk when they can, well, maybe that's it though. Maybe they can't clearly see what the intent is because they can't guess my intent either, right? So, I mean, I guess I thought it
Way
was.
to find
I mean, I
that.
guess I thought it was pretty obvious, but maybe not. I mean, maybe not. Yeah, yeah. I never thought about that. That maybe he doesn't. I mean, he can't know my intent either, I guess. But I mean,
Exactly.
I thought it was obvious. Although I should, it gives me an idea to create a bumper sticker. I do stop to be nice for other people. Yeah, I mean, just a heads up, I'm going to create a bumper sticker. But yeah, you're right. I mean, he can't know my intent, but
Right.
I mean, Captain Obvious too, right? I don't know.
Well,
Yeah,
that's that tricky thing
yeah,
though, and it's
yeah.
so well discovered by you because that is that tricky thing that we talk about often at work too, is you can't assume because we set ourselves up for failure. We set ourselves up for experiencing the discomfort if we think that they should just know that I'm doing this out of being kind because it's going to take forever and we can't go anywhere anyway. There's traffic in front, and for me to stop and let this guy through, no, like, and again, if that person is having a bad day, likely from the honking of it, his reaction isn't gonna be, oh, look at how nice she is. If this guy is having a bad
Yeah, that's
day,
true.
he's gonna be like, what are you doing? Like,
Yeah,
the light's green,
yeah,
go,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
lady.
yeah, yeah,
Right?
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true too. Yeah. It's yeah, it could get a little tricky for sure, but as long as I guess the message then is to ensure that we're looking after our own well-being.
Have
Yeah.
to. We absolutely have to. So, and we've mentioned this before and we'll say it again. What is the best possible outcome? Is it in the best interest of all that is, myself included? And does my behavior match? And we want to make sure too that we're really clear when we're talking about law of attraction and well-being, that really does mean for all that is. So if we're sitting over here in judgment, that wouldn't be well-being. If we're sitting over here in blame, that wouldn't be well-being. If we're sitting over here in fear, worry, vulnerability, selfishness, that wouldn't be well-being. When we're over in kindness, support, understanding, optimism, inclusion, all of the things that just feel good to say and hear, 100% well-being.
Is it possible that the honking occurred because I wobbled?
It is possible that you were second guessing whether or not you should let the person go.
Yeah, that's true, actually.
I know it
Yeah,
is.
that's true. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah. So, ooh,
Because
that just made
I
the
mean,
vibration
the
jump up
lineup,
a lot.
the cars in front that it, cleared the intersection, as they say, that we're still partway in the intersection. I'm like, well, I'm not going to go anymore because then it's truly blocked and everybody's screwed. So I'm just going to stay here. But you're right. I did
Yeah.
have that split second of, well, my car's kind of little. Could I? And I'm like, no, don't be silly. And then, I mean, duh. There's no way. But
Yeah.
yeah, you're right. Like,
So it doesn't mean, though, again, that you were doing anything wrong,
right.
but that is how accurate the universe responds. So we could even take it bigger and broader. Same scenario. Say you were having just an absolutely miserable day and you really just hated being in traffic in that moment. And again, life sucks, right? If you were in that moment and the person, a couple of things, you probably wouldn't have cared about being stuck in the intersection and may have just gone forward anyway, because now we're really just not thinking about well-being or, the best possible outcome for traffic and so on and so forth. You're maintaining this maybe super negative state of being for the moment. And then say you do still decide to stop. The guy behind you isn't just honking now. It's slippery out and he rear ends you.
Cheese balls.
Law of attraction, again, it's responding to the general energy of the bucket. If we're spending a whole lot of time in the rabbit hole, we're the ones, that are going to get rear-ended. When we're spending more and more of our time in the upper echelon of the bucket, we stop at this light, let somebody in, and we get honked at. When we're truly spending our time in creating and doing most of our lives from surety and clarity, and I know what I'm doing, I know where I'm headed, and my intentions, and blah, blah, blah. When we're doing that, we stop at the same intersection and we get no honk.
Even if the dude behind us is having the worst possible day?
Even if the dude behind us is having the worst possible day.
Huh.
He's probably in his car going, dumb, blah, 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 but he's not honking. And I would encourage people, especially in traffic, pay attention to where you are on an emotional scale and pay attention to what's happening around you. I'm up in the upper echelon of the bucket. I'm hitting all the green lights. Traffic might be backed up a little, but it's still relatively smooth and not in any big rush.
And just going with the flow and
Going with the flow. And then pay attention to when we're in the rabbit hole. And then pay attention to what's happening in traffic. I promise you'll notice every idiot driver. You'll hit yellow, red lights. It'll be a little slick.
Yeah.
We're talking from Alberta, Canada, where it's we've got some freezing rain today. So I imagine rush hour traffic today will be pleasant for some and not for others.
Good. Yeah. Oh, good. Yeah. Great. And
But that's what I'm talking about too, just to get back to well-being and the connection to law of attraction. Law of attraction is always doing its thing and it's responding to this bucket. And again, it doesn't care where you're from, what your education level is, what your orientation is. It doesn't care. It doesn't care your morality. It does not care. It goes, what is Kathy putting out at this moment? That is what I shall deliver. Well-being also doesn't care about where you're from and what your education is, and so also doesn't care. Well-being, though, is always calling you to feel better and to act from a place that feels better. It is the beauty of being able to truly know about whether or not what I'm hearing right now is somebody else's opinion, including my own from a negative place, or if it really is my well-being looking for the best possible outcome so that law of attraction again can respond to that. Whatever the human is asking for, whether we know it or not, we are getting. It's just way more fun to do that on purpose and ask for the good stuff.
and get the good stuff.
And get the
And
good
get the
stuff.
good stuff.
I had a client one time. It was early in my discovery of this and coaching of this. So, 7 years ago. She was in my home office and we had just finished a session and it was on a personal relationship, her and her partner, and she was trying to resolve conflict within that relationship. And we worked our way through it. We worked through being able to hear from well-being. What would your well-being encourage you to do right now? And then she was like, well, my well-being wants me to, and I'm like, I promise that is not your well-being. That might be your hurt feelings at the moment, which again is accurate, but it's not your well-being. So knowing that well-being wants you to feel better, what would you have to say in this moment to do that? And it took a minute, but she got there. She was able to, say, well, he's busy at work, and she was able to do and say a bunch of things to herself that were more accurate to what was really happening. She didn't even get out of my driveway at the end of that session. And she texted me and she's like, he just texted me. And I was like, yeah, exactly. She was so shocked that she hadn't heard from him all day, had been complaining about it to herself all day, had been, really upset with him for being a terrible, partner and husband, somebody who wasn't supporting and didn't care about her, to us being able to really dive into that and talk about what else could be happening from a well-being perspective. And he texted her before she left my driveway. And she texted me and she's like, oh my God. She's like, he just texted me. And I go, see how quickly it works. And she never looked back after that. Like, she really just sort of ran with it and was like, oh, I'm going to do this all the time. I'm like, yes, that would be wonderful.
That'd be wonderful. I mean, we
wonderful.
still have the little wobblies so that we can learn and grow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the wobblies are something that our well-being wants us to embrace.
To learn.
To learn, to embrace, to grow from, to discover, to know what we prefer and what we don't. That's the beauty in it. Every time we experience something we don't like, whether we do it or it happens, there's information in that. Ooh, I don't like that. I don't like that. And then we get to go, then well-being is going, yeah, what do you like, do you think? We don't like that. Must be this over here.
I love
And
that.
then calling you to, yeah, and calling us to figure out what that over here is. We are we're primarily energy in a physical form. Physics tells us that. We are primarily energy in a physical body. Where do humans think their thoughts go? Where do we think ideas come from? Like really, where do we think that happens and goes and forms and creates?
Are there any tips or that you can give our listeners that will help them source their well-being, for lack of a better word, to tune into it, to pay attention to it, to recognize it?
Yeah. Yeah, I think the biggest thing is number one, just being open to hearing, open to discovering of whether or not that message that's currently going on in here really is for a well-being statement. Like if you're hearing that message again, "Ooh, you're not good enough," that's not well-being. That's just not. That might be fear, that could be insecurity, that could be worry or shame. It's not well-being. So practice, pay attention to where we are on the emotional scale. And only us, we love everybody so much, but really we want to start here first. So pay attention to where you are on the emotional scale. When you're up here, not much to change. Simply be grateful that this is where we are. When we're below the line and we can recognize it, that's when we get to say to ourselves, I need well-being. What has well-being got for me? Where am I headed? And we always encourage people to write down at least 5 things that we can go to be grateful for in those moments. Because when we're in it, like really in it, it is not easy to come out of it. It becomes easier and easier and easier with practice and the more we choose to listen to well-being. But just starting out, it takes practice, it takes curiosity, it takes desire to feel better. And being able to truly count on yourself for being able to guide you to your best possible outcome. There's just no one that knows better for you than you. Nobody. We can all have opinions. We can. But no one knows what's best for you. Only you do.
And
And you know by how it feels.
and that's where our well-being can really be a guide for us.
Yes. Yes. Precisely that.
So, get goosies again. Love it.
Ooh, me too.
If any of our listeners have any questions or comments or topics you want us to tackle, leave your comments below. Until next time.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Kathy.
That was so good, dude.